Well, welcome everybody. We are very excited to have Skye Michiels join us this morning. Thanks for being here, Skye. For those of you
It's
who
so great to be
don't
here.
know his background, Skye is 20 plus years in real estate, uh, started at KW, was manager, then ended up somehow coming over to Compass, managing the Philly office, and then ended up being not just ended up earned his position as head of development, agent development, and coaching throughout the Compass family. And we all know and love him from the 6AMERS, which he started in, I think, about 6 years ago this month,
Yeah.
April of 2020 on the East Coast, grew onto the West Coast, November. All right, put me in the chat if you were here in November on the West Coast. And I think also we are at about our 2 year anniversary-ish of when you left Compass
Yep.
and moved on to your own with Heart Coaching. And is that right? Are we at 2 years?
Yeah.
now?
You're
2 years,
nailing it, Tanya.
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy. So we're
Crazy.
excited to get a little catch up and see what's going on in your life now. So it's been 2 years. How has that transition? Tell us a little bit about that transition from
Yeah,
leaving Compass and what it was like again, because you were basically a full-time employee, suddenly dumped into entrepreneurship, which I know had been your plan.
yeah.
And just, I mean, you pulled the trigger quickly. So talk to us about that.
It felt quickly to you guys, but it was a long time coming.
It
And
felt
full,
very quickly to us, like boom,
yeah,
you just yanked the curtain.
yeah. And full disclosure, I mean, for most of you guys, if most of the time when someone does leave Compass, like it's actually very quiet, like middle of the night kind of thing, in the sense that they actually don't do announcements. And I was very lucky in the sense that I was able to do a really proper send off and everything along those lines. But the reality too, Tanya, is that I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. And I actually was a paper boy at the age of 12. And if anyone knows, paper routes back way back when, you couldn't be an employee. You actually had to run a business, because you have to, you were 12 years old. Employment laws, you couldn't work, but you could run a business. So I actually started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 12. And then the reality is I was actually 2002 is when I got into real estate. This With Heart Coaching is actually my seventh company that I've formed in my life. So I've had two title companies, obviously a real estate team, which I count as a company, a Keller Williams brokerage, which is one of the companies. Technically, I count Compass, especially all of us that were in Compass in the startup days, like that was starting a company in many ways, even though, it was a
What
brokerage. And
year did you start at Compass?
I started August of 18.
Ah, okay.
So
That's about when
yeah.
I
And
started. That's funny.
yeah. And the reality is my move out of entrepreneurship into being an employee, because I was actually at Keller Williams, I was an owner. I was an investor owner and I ran my team at Keller Williams. I wasn't a manager there. So when Compass recruited me, they pulled me from the sales world. But the reality is my life situation sort of necessitated the move into being an employee. So I was getting divorced, as most of you guys know, 2018. So I really needed that stable position, so to speak. But I also, again, Compass of 2018 was an entrepreneurial journey. Like we were a startup. I moved from, my company that I was a partial owner of, owned a title company, into a room and a work, which is a very jarring feeling at the time. So you had to have that same entrepreneurial journey of every day waking up and believing in yourself that you guys all have. And every day you wake up, you're unemployed. So even though it was a big company, it still felt like being an entrepreneur. So ways like I was born to be an entrepreneur and I still am an entrepreneur. And this idea of creating companies and helping other people create companies is probably my life passion, beyond raising my kids and doing all the fun personal stuff.
Love
Tanya,
it.
it was in Skye, it was actually April 12th of 23 that you came out to the Bay Area. You came
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
and we had
Yeah.
our very first. We had a great big third Thursday at Santana Row in San Jose. We didn't even know if you were gonna fucking make it. Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. And then we had the Berkeley event, and then we went over to the San Francisco the next day. But that was
Yeah. I
it was
personally feel like one of my goals in life is to give John a heart attack,
yeah.
because if anyone on this call knows John, he's very structured and organized, and I am very not structured or organized. So
Mhm.
Yeah, John, I'll
I've,
let you know when I'm coming out. I'll let you know my itinerary. I'll call you. I'll call you. I'll call you. No, John, I'm gonna
I'm
be on the
here.
train. I'll call you on the train. Doesn't fucking call. Doesn't fucking call. So I fucking got on, and Tanya's like, he's not gonna do it. I'm like, no. Got on the East Coast call, and what song did I play for you to call me? Blondie's Call Me. I got the message, and you called me right after.
That's great. Anyways, yeah, but
John
Tanya,
is
just to,
nothing but persistent,
yes, very persistent.
like a
So
dog with a bone.
yeah,
And then
but
it was a couple of
April,
weeks later that you had your happiness summit in LA.
yeah. So lots of great memories, and put the word me in the chat.
Yeah.
Nostalgic. Put the word me in the chat if you were either
Baby
at
shakes her head.
the happiness summit or a 6AMER event. Like, we've all shared so many memories and connections, and I think we created this world of connection on a Zoom call, which, in my opinion, was, and I'm being, actually, no, I'll be proud of this. Like, I don't think any group inside did what the 6AMERS did from a connection standpoint. And I think the lessons we can pull from that is the fact there's nothing more powerful than human connection, even if it's on a
I'd be
Zoom
proud of
call.
that. 100%.
Yeah,
Amen. It is.
without a doubt.
I
So,
didn't feel
and
the
I think,
collaboration without ego until 6 Hammers. That's where I felt it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived it. I mean, we truly, truly lived it. And I think that the reason, I think it actually lives to this day. Like, we created something that was transcendent, above brokerage, above business, above anything. And to this day, I feel like I could call this if I was in, Oakland, or I did call Mark when I was just recently in Dallas, whoever, anyone on this call, I could reach out to them today, and it has nothing to do with brokerage or anything other than that connection among that shared experience of being part of this powerful community that we all built.
Yeah. I mean, Bobby and I were talking the other day, and it's like we were both in the same company for years. Tanya and I were in the same company. We were in the same we didn't know each other. And it was 6 AMers that we were literally in our
Yeah,
backyard.
John and I worked for the same brokerage for 14 years.
Didn't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Didn't know each
yep,
other.
I could have
yeah.
been
Well,
getting whipped for years more than daily from her this abuse.
yeah. Well, and John, I think that's also what I love about entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur, is the fact that anything can be created. And I think the thing that everyone on this call really needs to recognize and understand is that it is so, so incredibly important right now that you all adopt this mindset that you are the nexus of everything you're creating, right? Like, the power of the agent has never been more evident, despite all the headlines and news. Realize that they're all fighting, all these companies. And let's be real, Compass included, they all are fighting for this business that you are actually the control of. And my challenge to you guys, everyone on this call as entrepreneurs, is what are you doing every single day to actually control and be the CEO of your business? Years ago at Compass, we had this course called Agent as a CEO.
Yeah.
And it's sort of this mindset that I'm really pressing and pushing and hoping people on this call adopt, because you can't feel like you can't do something or you can't do whatever, because all these forces are going on. And there's never been a moment in time in real estate that the headlines have been more oppressive, more negative, more challenging for all of us. And unfortunately, it's really distracting a lot of people away from the realities. All this bullshit, it doesn't impact you if you don't let it, right? And everyone on this call needs to adopt this mindset that you are the CEO of your business, because you are.
Mhm.
And even if you're on a team, you still are a CEO of a business. And the powerful thing about being an entrepreneur and being a person on this call is that you have so much power. And these billion-dollar companies are trying to go after what you control. So for a second, realize like all this stuff is just all about what you do every day in your business.
What would you
And
say,
that's,
Sky? You left obviously a huge platform
mhm,
and turn that into your now current business with our coaching. What would you say to those agents who are leaving a much smaller brokerage um, and coming to Compass? How would you say their
yeah.
best ways to continue that entrepreneurship and those ideas? Because when you do come to such a big platform, many people are starting to say that Compass feels very corporate. And so, the idea and the goal I know right now is to keep that boutique feeling. What
Mhm.
would you say for those agents that have recently moved over and how agents can continue to try to keep that
Yeah.
boutique kind of feeling?
The number one thing that everyone should keep in mind and think of this as deeper is more powerful than wider. So, in other words, if you can figure out who are the five, six, seven agents that I want to go deep with, and it doesn't even need to be in your office or your market. It could be, as you all demonstrated, could be outside your market, or it could be inside your market. Don't worry about meeting everyone in your office, and don't worry about the awards or the accolades or the rankings or any of that stuff. It all doesn't matter. Worry about who are the five people that I can surround myself with and go deep with. So right now in the chat, put one agent in your office that you could meet and collaborate with and work with. And I really want to challenge everyone right now. Like literally everyone put one agent inside your office that you could work with. And Tanya, the reality is, as John sort of was highlighting, John and Robert worked in the same office before Compass, but now they feel much deeper, even at this big brokerage, right? So literally identify the depth. And this goes then into your database as well, right? So the reality is, as if you don't realize this, Zillow and Redfin, all these companies are actively marketing to your clients every day. And the reality is, if we allow their narrative to take over, and if we allow them to become the authority inside of real estate, your clients will slowly start to, I call it the drift, right? They just, it doesn't happen overnight. It's like this little drift away from you until that day comes where they're like, ooh, we want to see this house. Who is our realtor? Or they created a story. We want to see this house and
We
we
don't
don't
want
want
to
to bother trying
bother
to.
them. Right. Yep. The
And then here's
story.
the reality, guys. Go on to Zillow. Any client, any person today can see any property on the market today by clicking a little button on Zillow. And this has happened so quietly and so subtly in the background, right? That all of a sudden Zillow, and again, it's not just Zillow, it's all the internet aggregators,
Yep.
right, have done this, where they sort of have positioned themselves and they're preying on the convenience that we all crave, right? I want a coffee. I don't want to have to go drive or make it.
I just
I'm
have
just
that
going to go on
delivered.
DoorDash. Yeah. And I have a coffee.
Starbucks on delivery. Yep.
Yeah. So we have one, and this is so, so important. We have one thing that we need to hyper focus on, which is our relationships and our connections to people and the heart, right? That's, you think of with heart coaching. And then with all the AI and all the technology and everything coming about, the thing that really matters is making another person feel like they matter to you and making them know that you are there for them when the moment comes or when there's just a moment they need help, right? And there's all these systems. We can use technology to systematize a lot of this, but we have to recognize that our future depends on the depth of our relationships, not on the width of our relationships. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does.
yeah,
Absolutely. Going deep in the onion instead of peeling back the
that's
layers
right.
one at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So, and Callie just put a comment, what is DoorDash in Tahoe? So, like, Callie, for you in Tahoe, like, your goal is to go deep with your agents. Don't find hundreds of agents in your feeder markets. Find one agent in each feeder market that you can go deep with, right? And that's your thing. Don't worry about DoorDash if it's not in Tahoe, but like your secondary markets, agents are your number one. If I was in the secondary market, I would hyper focus on creating deep connections with agents in my feeders.
Great
Well, and
advice.
if you also, I know, Skye, I would always jump on your ass and say, stop talking about referral partners, stop talking referral partners, talk
Mm.
collaboration.
Yeah,
And that's really been my focus, is building deep collaboration, focus,
yeah,
relationships, and true friendships. I mean,
yeah,
Russ Pruner, it was his birthday yesterday, and I consider Russ a brother. I
yeah,
love that man so much, and so many people in on this call that that I truly love more than my
yeah,
family. I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
get to pick
Ex-
you guys, and my family drives me crazy. But and if it wasn't for this community, I think I've talked about before, and the community being the 6 Mayer family being here for me, for my wife going through cancer, and I
yeah,
know that there's so many times that 6 Amers need to jump on. I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw you out, Wendy, but Wendy jumped on. What was it, about a year ago, year and a half ago, because her dog had just died, and she just needed to see the family. She
yeah,
just needed to see the family and to cry and share her story with us. And that's what
yeah,
this family's about. It really is.
yeah. And John, I think you take that and then leverage that to a certain extent inside of your family of your business you created. Like you guys, not to pull this all back into real estate, but I got to stress this. This is the thing that everyone on this call you needs to really understand is like the role you play in people's lives is so incredibly impactful. And again, we sometimes create a story that they don't want to hear from us or we don't want to bother them, right? Then the minute you reconnect with that person,
Yeah.
like you bring back this flood of good memories. And then think of what you opened up. Let's say you're first time home buyers, right? Like that first time home buyer, think of all of the memories you're going to allow them to create. And if you are in a connection with them, guess what? You get to experience those to some extent along the way. Like you guys have seen my kids grow up. I'm on a cruise with my kids right now. Like a lot of people on this call have seen my kids literally grow up. Well, guess what? Make that part of your real estate business as well. Share who you are. Let your clients see, go through life with your clients, make them clients for life, right? This is not no such thing as past clients. And again, I really want to stress this, like lead with your heart in everything you guys are doing. Lead with your humanity. This is your key to the future. And I am going to stress this because it is going to get very, very distracting and it's going to get very, very noisy in the real estate space. And it is important to learn about AI. It is important to lean into using it in your business, but it is so much more important to make sure you're leading with your heart and your humanity right now, because it is the thing that will carry you into the future. If you wake up and all you do is wait for the phone to ring
Mhm.
and you wait to like reconnect with people, like the other companies, no, they're not waiting,
Yeah.
right? And they are currently going after your clients.
Mhm.
They're not waiting because they're also not worried about, putting too much of themselves out there, right? They don't have any of those
That's right.
emotional baggage that we hang our hats on sometimes because they
That's
don't
right.
have those relationships. They just put it out there.
Yeah,
And so, little lesson when we put it out there, plus we have the emotional tie-ins, we create
that's
the
right.
relationships.
Yeah,
Big
that's
win.
huge. And Tanya, this is why it's so critical that we actually sometimes we often with the people we care about, we don't need to talk real estate as well. So my challenge to everyone on this call, like it's spring, it's new, a new quarter. And what this month can you do that's not real estate related to just talk to people, right? Just to connect with them, find out what they're up to, invite them to an event, to whatever it might be. And again, it's like often we overthink it and then our story making machine starts kicking in and then we're off to the races. And Zillow right now is not caring. And I think the biggest lesson that I try to adopt in my business, and I want to stress with you guys, is that results are a distraction, right? If you are focused on results and you're not focused on your systems, your processes, and your actions, you're just going to constantly just ride an emotional roller coaster up and down, up and down, up and down. Because in real estate, like the actions you take today are going to impact you in June. But if you look and then tomorrow you're like, wait, nothing happened. And then you ride this emotional roller coaster, as opposed to saying, here's my system, my process, here are the actions I'm going to take. And then in 3 months, I'll pick my head up and I'll measure what the results are, right? It's really critical that we don't focus on results, because in real estate, it's a massive level of distraction away from what we need to be doing.
There are so many distractions out there right now, especially with
Yeah.
AI, especially with all the movement within real estate companies. What would you say is the number one challenge that, not only realtors, but leaders in general are facing right now?
Um, the number one challenge is information overload. We're we are drowning. And I'll give you guys a coaching story. One of my clients, she was gonna go away on vacation. So literally we got on a call. Like, I am so overwhelmed with my email. So I said, okay, we're just gonna spend 10 minutes and let's just look at your email. And she shared her screen with her email. And my jaw dropped because her email
I think I might resemble
was
that client.
right. And again, it's one of those things as a coach, our the coaching industry is horrible at this, because then she opened up her email. It's like email from, I won't name names, right? But it was like 10 emails about coaching.
Was it from
And
John?
then,
An email from
you
John?
know, no, no.
No, we've
And
been
then,
sending all the shit now from your email, so they're not just
Oh,
from
right.
us.
Sorry. Was it from
We
me?
did a whole market
yeah.
change so that's coming from you, girl, not me.
Sorry.
But Tanya, this is like, imagine you guys are trying to process, like, what do I take? What do I do? What do I, right? And leaders, especially, I think, are trying to figure out, what information do I consume and then take action on? Because let's be real, today, there's probably 10 trainings you guys could get on today
Right.
to learn about AI, right? And you get on it. And a lot of this, I think we need to create an AI filter where you start filtering your understanding and application of AI and desire, where you say, is this just fun? Or is this something that will actually benefit me and my clients? Because a lot of the stuff that's being taught in the AI world is just fun and is just, yes, you guys could spend the entire year learning AI and not do any business,
Yeah.
right? And so we
Right.
have to create this filter that says, all right, is this AI training or this thing I'm learning going to actually benefit me and my business? Or is it just fun, so to speak, right? Because let's be real, it's fun to go on a call and be like, holy shit, you can do that now, you know? And the other thing that I think it's really critical is that we get overwhelmed with all the information. And we literally created a folder where she just dumps all the coaching emails, into a folder. Once in a while, she'll go in and say, okay, I have a little time to take a free training, what's out there. But we created a rule where everything is just going into the folder. She didn't even see it. And she breathed. And then we did the same thing for Compass, because let's be real, and it's not just every brokerage, right? I mean, my God, the emails, put the word me if you feel like are overwhelmed with email, you know? And yeah, and full disclosure, then we are a part of the problem too, Tony, because what do you do as an agent to get business? You're like,
Send
oh, I'm
out
going to send
emails.
more emails.
Right. There's so many
And,
email campaigns. The cheapest way to do your marketing is through email.
and the and
Fastest
let's
way
be
to get
real.
unsubscribed.
Oh my God. And honestly, it's not just the unsubscribes anymore. Now Google and all the email providers have recognized how overwhelmed people are with email. So they're instituting massive barriers to marketing emails penetrating people's inboxes. So the more effective, to be honest with you, the more effective marketing emails is way less. So if you send a newsletter on this call today, look at your newsletter. And if you are scrolling more than like two scrolls, too long. Like, honestly, a really effective newsletter might be shifting it to just one item. And by the way, you guys, you don't need to put your listings in your newsletters. Guess what? No one's looking at them because they already saw them. Unless it's like something that's not out there. Like, if it's something that's not Googleable or not on Zillow or not on, okay, there's a world there, right? But at the end of the day, your active listings do not need to go on there. Your open houses do not need to go on there. Shorten your marketing emails and create interaction as well. A more effective marketing email might do one question and that's it that you send out that people will respond to, because that's what Google, the email providers are looking for. Are people interacting with these emails, or is it just quote unquote marketing? And if it's just marketing, they're shifting them into promotional folders or spam folders. So a lot of people aren't even seeing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really critical that you evaluate your marketing. And I really want to stress this. There's so much power in old school marketing. John and Tanya, I got your birthday card in the mail, right? I got a text from you. You did a video on social, right? You didn't do an email. You did all these
Well, you
non-email
should have gotten an
marketing
email too.
tactics.
Pond.
Oh no, I
Watch
should have
Maybe I
that
got an
did.
clip.
email too.
That's in my, it's in my spam folder.
It went
It's
into
in
your
my spam.
spam. Okay. Shit, we got to do
Got a
that.
filter for that.
Yeah. But literally, like, let's rehumanize. Like, think about mail. Like, when was the last thing you got in the mail that wasn't a bill, some marketing piece? Give someone a gift. Like, as some of you maybe got a lotto ticket from me. Yes, it was a little late, but I still did it. But some of you got a lotto ticket, and
I won $1.
sort of.
I won $1. Thank you,
Did you? Oh,
Scott.
good,
Thank you.
excellent, and creates conversation, right? Like, send something out to people. Like, you get my point. It's like we
Yeah, we just
gotta
didn't get
start
anything.
to think. Yeah, that's all right. Not everyone's a winner, but it's so critical. And then again, I think, Tanya, this challenge of information overload is drowning. We are drowning in overload, and it's also creating this feedback loop of I'm not enough, right? The word here's a good one. Put the word me in the chat if you feel like you are horrible at AI, because we're gonna see this light up. And all of a sudden now we've replaced like social media, like, oh, I'm not good with social media. Now it's like, I'm not good with AI. It's the new real estate thing. And you notice every single coach is like leaning into this AI stuff. And it is important. I want to stress, I'm not saying it's not important to learn, but if you are overloaded and overwhelmed by it, and if you're learning stuff that you're not using or don't think you're going to use, just start to create boundaries around your intake of information, and you'll start to breathe a lot better. Yeah.
Right, John, what do you
Skye,
got?
what is the number one thing that you miss from Compass?
The number one thing is the people. I mean, I will say, like, there was this feeling when I was there, of us against the world, you know? Um, I don't know. I don't, from, the employees there right now, I don't think there's not that same feeling right now. Do you know what I mean? Because it's gotten a little bit bigger in the last couple of years, last couple of months, we'll
Teensy
say.
bit. Teensy
Yeah.
bit. Remember
Yeah.
the
So
campaign? What was it? 20 markets in
20% in the top 20 markets
Yeah.
by 2020. Like, that was
that's what
like
it was.
2020,
Yeah.
20. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that early group of people, and I'm still in touch with most people that are there or not there. Do you know what I mean? But
Right.
there was like a special. It was like being on a team for me, like a crew team or my real estate team, right? Whereas like we were just like so bonded across the country. So the thing I miss the most is that bond you had with other employees. Because the good thing is, luckily, I still have lots of bonds with agents because of the fact I'm coaching a lot of you. Um, so I still have that feeling. So I don't miss it as much, but I miss that employee bond. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like us against the world,
Wait.
you know?
Is
So
Courtney Smith on the call? Oh my hell.
she's
Courtney
working in the
Smith is on
background.
the
She's like,
call?
yeah,
Jeez.
She
yeah,
is on the
yeah,
call. I saw her
yeah.
pop in earlier.
Yeah.
I said,
So, and that's, and John, full disclosure, I still have all the friendships. Like,
Yeah.
Courtney and I are dear
Yeah.
friends. Like, I was at her wedding, for God's sake. Like, so it's one of those things that I still have those friendships, but you're not going to battle every day with them.
Mhm.
And there is this special thing, like with, Courtney and I can tell some war stories about running retreats when we were doing things we never thought we'd be doing, and you did it. It was sort of like that, the team, the sports, or the military. Like, I'm not doing it for Robert. I was doing it for Courtney. I was doing it for like the people to the left and right of me, not for like the big leaders. Do you know what I mean? And we had this massive connection and pride that we formed in those like really, really challenging years that we went through. So that's what I miss the most is like the battle of Courtney, you know,
Yeah.
so to speak. So,
Yeah.
That's great.
So
How would you say your transition affected you personally and how'd that affect your family as well? So
well,
just
massive. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I'm on a cruise now with my two kids, and the there was this moment of recognition that I recognized that I wasn't living the life I wanted to live at the end of working at Compass, where I didn't watch TV without a laptop on there's
yeah.
never a moment that I wasn't working, even when I was taking care of my kids. And then
Hard to
on
promote
top of
be where
that,
your feet are when you're always at work.
yeah.
and and you guys
As you're
know
on a cruise ship right now talking with
this is a little different. This is my only call this week, and this was because we actually had this scheduled a long time ago. And full disclosure, my kids are sleeping upstairs anyway. Like they're teenagers, so they're not going to get up for a couple hours now. So, but it did illustrate this like inauthenticity, right, of being on a call and saying you guys need to be healthy. You guys need to, make sure family's first. You guys need to do all this. And I was in my head, I'm like, I am lying, like I'm full of bullshit right now, you know? And so when I left, I mean, the number one reason I left was because of the fact that my kids were growing fast. And this vacation is evidence of that, right? You see your kids, you blink your eye and they're like driving, you know, or, growing up and doing things that you're like, oh my God, like there's these bleeding time, this clicking clock, so to speak, that I was observing, and I knew if I wasn't there, then it's like you're gonna miss it, and I was missing it, because even if I wasn't, even when I was traveling, one thing, but then I was home, and I wasn't really present when I was home because there's so much to do. So the ability to control my destiny and actually be authentic about like, hey, be where your feet are, like live this really good life and make sure you put family first is the number one thing, because of the fact that I think number one, we come first, our health. Like my health was suffering. I wasn't waking up excited. I wasn't waking up happy. And that fear of like jumping and leaving security, you know, that's something you guys deal with every single day. Every day you wake up, you're unemployed. You guys are, this is the world we live in as an entrepreneur. You wake up, you're unemployed, and you have to wake up and tell yourself, like, I'm going to do it today. Today's the day, right? And this is the joy of being an entrepreneur, but also the fear. When you're an employee, there is that security of like, okay, I'm going to wake up today, and I know I have a paycheck coming down the road. So there's that balance. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to bet on myself. And I had that confidence that I'm going to make this work. And I have. And now it's, there's so much 2 years in, the stability, the calmness that's in the side of the business is so great. Because now it's like you can continue to build bigger things from here.
You said before we started the call officially that, the first thing you're trying to get your daughter to do is once she turns 18, she's going to have a real estate course wrapped up for her.
Yeah.
What advice would you give her about starting this entrepreneurship life and going forward? What would be your biggest piece of advice for her?
Well, the biggest piece of advice is that the power of relationships will never be overcome by anything that's created in the future. And I think it's the kind of thing, the reason I want her to get into at least practice some level of sales early in life is I think it teaches you so much that even if she becomes an employee somewhere, doesn't get into sales, the ability to have to like put yourself out there, to wake up, have structure, have drive, have that ability to say like, hey, I'm going to do it today and it's on me. That's what my desire to give her those lessons early on in life. So full disclosure, you guys know my daughter's 16. She's a sophomore, but we're already talking about like colleges, and I've sort of been talking about real estate. She sees me, I do. She hears all your calls, things like that. So I've been talking to her about when she graduates, to get her real estate license, or wherever she goes to college, she'll work for the local like biggest rental agent in that town, learn the language of sales because she's going to have to work in college and stuff like that. I hope she's going to make her. I'd rather her, not serve coffee at Starbucks, but actually be out there learning a little bit about sales, and it's going to help her develop all these life skills that we developed, and again, I think being an entrepreneur and a salesperson, it really, really challenges your internal, you know, sort of who you are every day. And there are going to be good days and bad days, but at the end of the day, the lessons we learn in doing this, are just so powerful. So that's why I'm sort of pushing her to, moving into this direction of sales. And what I hope he learns is that the relationships you generate are so powerful, and it will transcend technology, which is a big reason why I want her to get into it. I think in the future, as AI, and again, no shade to anyone on this call that might be of a younger generation, but I think there's never been a time that young people can gain a competitive advantage by having this emotional intelligence and human intelligence than now. If you teach a young person how to be emotionally intelligent and human intelligence, it will insulate them from whatever's to come in the future, because it's coming. There's change coming. If we don't recognize that, we need to recognize there is the job space for our kids is going to look way different than what it looked like for us graduating from college. And my hope to get her ready is to teach this emotional and human intelligence, because that's the thing. I think that if she could combine that with all the other stuff, they're just gonna rise to the top.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Skye, what is your current favorite healthy, selfish time? It used to be something. I want to know if it's changed.
it's it's changed.
Okay,
So
who remembers what
yeah.
his healthy, selfish passion was? Put it in the chat. Put
Oh
it in
my
the chat.
goodness,
I
John.
you got to. I thought he wore the T-shirt at least today. No, full disclosure, I still read a
Yeah,
book while I'm taking a shit.
don't
Yeah.
ever borrow a book from Skye. You never want. Okay. I don't know if this started during COVID because you didn't have enough toilet paper. I don't know. But
John, it's it's a great question. It's a silly question, but also a great one. And the change that for me has actually not been the morning, but the night. So I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. If I'm in bed by 10 and I have a really healthy night, meaning like I'm not scrolling on Instagram, I'm not like watching the news, I'm not doing stuff that's like, not healthy. If I have a really healthy night, I pop out of bed at 4:30. Like I literally I'm like ready to go. So as I've gotten a little older, I've recognized how critical my night is to my morning. My morning's easy if I nail the night. When I don't hit the nighttime, I can still do the mornings, but it's just not that same, pop out of bed. And so ironically, my healthy, selfish morning activity is actually my nighttime routine, which is very simple, by the way. It literally is, the simplicity of it is I'm in bed, phone across the room, I read a book. Some days I read a page and I'm tired and I go to bed. Some days I read longer, but that's the simplicity of it. It's
what are
10
you reading
a.m.
right now?
Into the Magic Shop. Brad Ferran gave it to me for my birthday. I am
It's called
loving
what?
this book. I'm going to right now. I'm going to put it in the
Okay.
chat. Into the Magic Shop, a neurosurgeon's quest. It is so freaking good. It's that book, the kind of book page one, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it like captured me on page one. So there's like an Amazon link. I don't know if that works, but
Thanks.
highly recommend it for everyone. Yeah. And it's a great read because it's sort of this like, it's a little bit of a story, but it's so motivational and inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like this nice little in between of a novel and a self-help book, so to speak. So
Thank you.
On that note, we are running out of time here, and I don't want to keep you from your vacation, but we do
You're good.
run a quick 6 at 6 if you're open to
I've
it.
never heard of this. What is this? 6 at 6.
So as anybody new to the call, these are just some rapid fire questions for Skye. No deep thought necessary, although sometimes they end up being a little longer. Okay, what's your favorite app right now?
My favorite app. I just gotta go Instagram. I don't know. I'm on vacation, so it's sort of
Living
nice. I've
on the
been
gram.
living on the
On the
gram. It's sort
gram.
of fun. Yeah, great conversations in it. It's like, that's it is my favorite.
Perfect. I think many of us can identify with that.
Yeah.
Favorite ice cream?
Favorite ice cream? Mint chip.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Wait, would
I
Bobby's
that
got a
be
know.
thumbs
It's so
up.
boring.
ship to shore? Are
Bill's
you saying?
in.
So it's not vanilla.
Bill's
We had
in.
we had someone that was vanilla.
But
Yeah,
Wait,
we've
wait,
had a
wait, wait.
couple
There's
that
a
well,
were
lot of
Coast
vanilla.
Yeah.
people.
there's variations of
Yeah.
mint chip. Which specific variation of
Yeah.
mint chip?
Thank you,
Well,
Bob.
that's how I was just gonna fill in the blank. So on the East Coast, we have this like shaved, the chocolate's like it's not chips, it's actually like shaved chocolate.
Hmm.
So if anyone on the East Coast remembers like Howard Johnson's, like these old school, oh, that's the mint chip ice cream I'm talking about, not the
Okay.
big chips,
Not
like
the
the
big
shaved.
chips.
So
So Howard
yeah,
Johnson, what's that? Was that an ice cream shop
I
or
was
a
like
brand?
it was like a diner-ish, like,
Okay.
it was like a chain on the East Coast. So
Ojo's.
Hojo.
Does
There
it
you go, Martha.
exist anymore?
There were
I
like
think it's
motels
still
and they
around.
had a coffee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was like a motel connected to like a diner.
Okay.
So
All right. What would you say is your one superpower?
mm, my superpower is love, making people feel loved.
Nice. If you could go anywhere in history or in the future, where would you
Mm.
go and why?
Ah, that's a good one. I
It's my
would
favorite
go.
one, honestly.
I
Yes.
know. Well, you're talking to a history teacher.
I know. I
So
know.
like we were in mine rooms and like so there's so many I can answer this question so many ways. Um I
First one that
I
pops in your
have
head.
to the first one that pops in my head is going into the White House when FDR was president during from the Great Depression through World War II, and just being there and observing what was because we have problems today, but when you just think about in context of history, like the Great Depression and World War II and all these things that FDR navigated, like I just can't even imagine the conversations and the things that were going through that room at the time. So
Mhm.
that it's a little bit of a broad swath of history, but that like frame,
Mhm.
I'm just fascinated by it.
Love it.
I've got a question. What are you afraid of?
Hmm. I'm afraid of I'm afraid of letting people down, John. Like that's the thing. It's like, it's something I work at all the time. It's like a people pleasing aspect, but like my biggest fear is letting people down. So anytime I'm like, I have something that I procrastinated on, like my negative feedback loop is, oh my God, like I let them down. Right. And that is that's my like Achilles heel is letting someone down. I mean, I call myself a recovering people pleaser. I've gotten through lots and lots of therapy, self-help work and everything like that. Like I've gotten much better at not being a people pleaser, but it'll be a life, you know, it's like an alcoholic. Like I will always struggle with that factor of my fear of letting someone down.
What is your favorite uh, aspect of your coaching right now with heart coaching?
Ah, my favorite is like the old school stuff that we're doing. That's like people are just blown away when they get results from something as simple as sending a text message that has nothing to do with real estate. Like you guys probably all know the classic, like, hey, I saw your name. It's been a while. It made me smile like that. The simplicity of what I teach is what just warms my heart.
Yeah.
And hearing people it's almost like a kid learning something for the first time where they're like, my God, like they actually responded. Like, yeah, they actually love you, you know? And it's one of those situations of being this force of simplicity and humanity in this very, very noisy world that you all are navigating. It's something that I'm just driven to, that's like my calling, I think, in the real estate world is to continue to deliver on those two key points, simplicity and humanity. And then bring in technology as needed and as supporting it, but we lead with those two concepts. So
Love it. We have put all of your contact information in the chat, and there will be a
it's
follow-up
awesome.
email as well. But
Yeah.
last
So
thing
look in your
before you
spam
go.
when you get the email from Tanya.
Yeah.
All right, last question. What are you doing right after this call?
I'm actually going to go get a coffee from Starbucks and I'm going to check in. My kids are definitely sleeping still. So
Are there
they
cruise
said, do
plans for
not.
the day? What's the big adventure
Yeah,
for the day?
we're swimming with dolphins today. So
Oh,
big day.
Oh,
oh,
that's
oh.
Yeah.
fun.
You
Yeah.
just made
So
me happy. Oh, you just
yeah,
made me
Oh,
happy.
I
I
know.
love it. You never
So
done that
very
before?
excited. Never done
that's
it
Oh,
before. The
you're gonna
kids have
love
never
it.
done it
You're
before.
gonna love it.
They're so excited.
Say hi
So
to Flipper.
it's going to be
Yeah,
really, really good day. I'm excited.
I'll bet. Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Skye, for taking time
Thanks, guys.
away from your vacation. I know your kids are
Yeah,
sleeping, so
I know. We're good.
we
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate you so
This is,
much.
I appreciate you all so much. And please reach out to me.